The door had always been the boundary between two worlds. The world where I slowly died, and the world where perhaps I could start living again. And on that last night, it was different. Every time I touched it, the wood felt heavy, resistant, almost complicit in what happened inside that house. It was as if the door had been trained not to let anyone out, not even me. But that night, it felt light, as if it knew its purpose was coming to an end. I approached slowly, feeling the ground beneath my feet firmer than ever. The silence still accompanied me, welcoming and full of meaning. Every step I took toward the door seemed to create a different echo, an echo that said, "Keep going. Now it's just you." When I stopped before the door, I touched the doorknob with the tips of my fingers. It was cold but not freezing. It was the coldness of something that no longer had conflict to offer. The wood seemed to breathe beneath my palm, not as a threat, not as a warning, but as a farewell. For years, that door had been a marker of fear. Every time it slammed, I knew something bad was coming. Every time it closed, I felt my chest shrink. Every time it locked, I lost a part of myself. But that night, it was just a door. It wasn't an enemy. It wasn't a prison. It was a passage. I took a deep breath, letting the air fill my lungs as if it were the first time I truly breathed in that place. Then I pressed my forehead to the wood, a simple gesture, but one that seemed to carry centuries of silence. I closed my eyes, and there, with my head resting on the door, I felt something inside me open long before I turned any lock. It was an internal snap, a soft rupture, a key turning in the lock of my soul. It wasn't grand courage. It wasn't heroism. It was a deep understanding. I didn't need permission. The door had always seemed bigger than me, but there, that night, I realized it was my size. I slowly lifted my face. I grasped the doorknob fully with my hand. I felt its real weight, not the weight I imagined, not what fear had made it, but its true, simple weight, and I turned it. The lock made such a soft sound that I almost didn't hear it. It was as if it had decided not to offer any resistance, as if it were ready to fulfill its final role, to open. The door moved a few inches, and the outside air rushed into the room with a force I wasn't expecting, cold, alive, real. It was as if the world were blowing life into me, a life I had forgotten how to feel. I opened it a little more. The wind stirred my hair, and in that moment, I understood. The door had already opened inside me long ago. I just needed to confirm it with my hands. Behind me, the entire house seemed to watch me, not with resentment, not with longing, but with the awareness of one who knows they've lost control. The silence followed every movement of the door opening, and for the first time, I felt like I wasn't betraying anything by leaving. I was choosing myself. I stood before the opening for a few seconds. The night outside seemed to breathe at the same time I did. The dim streetlights cast irregular shadows on the ground, but enough to show the way. And in that threshold between inside and outside, between past and future, between death and rebirth, I felt the most important question rise within me. Are you ready? The answer didn't come in words. It came in impulse, in motion, in truth. I took a step forward. The door opened wider, as if giving me space, as if it were finally inclined to favor me. On the inside, the room remained immersed in half-light, a setting of everything I had lived, of what hurt, of what silenced me. On the outside, the street was unknown, unpredictable, cold, but it was mine. I touched the doorknob once more, in a nearly symbolic gesture, not to close it yet, but to recognize that this moment was real. And then I realized something. I wasn't trembling. My body didn't hesitate. My heart didn't beg me to turn back. Everything in me was aligned to move forward. The door, without resistance, opened fully. And the sound of it moving wasn't the sound of goodbye. It was the sound of freedom. I looked outside, and for the first time in years, I felt like the world wasn't going to swallow me. The world was going to welcome me. Behind me, the house remained intact, between shadows and memories, but I no longer belonged to those walls. I touched the doorframe as if closing a chapter with a gesture, and without pain, without doubt, without turning back, I crossed. I wasn't running away, I was freeing myself. The door didn't close on its own. It stayed there open, watching my back as I walked. And perhaps that was the last proof I needed. The prison was never the house. The prison had always been the fear. And at that very moment, fear finally gave way. If you felt the power of this story, subscribe to the channel and stay connected with us. And don't miss the next video in the next section or the next series where we explore the next chapter in this journey of self-liberation.